Hi friends, Prasanna here. We are talking at a CryptoWire show. I am gonna talk about blockchain technology, which is a path-breaking technology. So it's a collaboration between India Blockchain Forum, as you can see, and along with the CryptoWire. So let me get into our presentation here. So friends, let's talk about blockchain technology, how blockchain gonna change the banking industry. It's not only banking industry, although today I'll talk a lot about banking industry as an example, but blockchain has a power to change many other industries. The way internet has changed our world, right? Internet, we can't live without internet, or any industry cannot live without internet. Similarly, in the future, blockchain acts as an internet 2.0. Whatever internet has not given, blockchain comes and says, I am gonna enhance the life of a banking or any other industry. So today, the way I have depicted the topic, right, the 5G of a banking industry, right, the way we see the 2G, 3G or 4G, right, has given a lot of bandwidth, the way we operate our communications, our internet, our conversations on various social media channels. Similarly, 5G has a lot of potential to change the way we live. It will bring a lot of autonomous reactions for the customers, right? Similarly, the banking industry operates on a lot of operations. There are a lot of gaps, there are a lot of enhancement requirement in the current banking industry, and how blockchain will come and change the banking the way we see, right? That's what we'll talk about. That's all about me. I am Prasanna Lohar. Today I'll walk through you in this CryptoWire session along with the India Blockchain Forum. I represent DCB Bank, and let's see how we'll talk about. So friends, in 2030, whether we'll operate with the banking and non-banking, that time will decide. But the way I have seen my banking experience way back in 2000, when I opened my first bank account, right, with one of those well-known banks in India, and it took around, just imagine, right, 35 days. And that moment, that was a wow experience for that level of customer. I must have referred that bank to many of my friends, many of my neighbors, that you should go to this bank and open your bank account. But today, so friends, if I ask you, please visit this bank, and instead of 35 days, we'll open up your bank account in 30 days or 25 days or in 10 days. Still, what you will say? No, I think this bank is not tech savvy. This bank is not up to the mark. This bank is yet to do a lot of adoption of technology, right? So predominantly, the way we see our operations around many more things, right? We are ordering pizza or Swiggy or Zomato, right? So your food is coming directly from a hotel to at your home, right? Just imagine in 1995, you would have asked these kind of innovations will happen in our life. You would have said, no, it won't happen. But today, if you see in 2021, there are a lot of things are happening in our way, right? And never know, right? Just try to imagine after 4 years, 5 years, or after 15 years, what's going to happen the way we operate, right? The way we call, or we have seen those lives where we used to send inland letters or postcards, right, to our friends, right, and we used to wait for 10 days, 15 days for a response. Today, with WhatsApp and many other social media channels, it's very easy to interact, right? Similarly, banking, right, the way we have seen, right, we have to visit to the bank branch, right? You have to wait for your turn, right? You have to fill up those paper forms and then wait for those 10-15 days to get bank account opened. Similarly, there are many operations in the banking, like taking a loan or a statement, and likewise, it takes a lot of time. So banking industry, although it is designed, defined, created, crafted on the current internet, there are a lot of gaps. Let's see how these gaps can be fulfilled. So I'll walk you through towards the story of a blockchain. Slowly we'll get into the blockchain story, why it is required, how all of a sudden blockchain will become a traction and a wow story for all of us, right? So we have seen, right, how banking may change by 2030. There are a lot of permutation combinations, lot of technologies will come in our life, and banking will change. So in a nutshell, what I wanted to say that every 20 years some technology comes, some kind of a force comes and changes our life the way we have seen. Internet came in our life, mobility came in our life, and we have changed the different business models, right? Now, if you see, right, what is the key of success? A right technology partner, innovation, collaboration with ecosystem. It's all key and a game changer for every 20 years. We may see that we are quite successful in the last 20 years, But in the next 20 years, what all gonna change, right? That is what we have to see here onwards, right? So in a nutshell, what is required? Innovation, collaboration with the right technology partner and with the right time, bringing out that customer experience, better product experience to your customer is a key of a success. Now, if you see the Internet of Things, right, or mobility, right, and with the 5G will come in reality. Say example, in India by 2022, right, Indian government telecom service providers will bring on 5G in our life. So all of a sudden, the way we operate, the way we communicate, the way we do the transportation, everything will change. Start imagining, right, your home becomes a smart home, or your car becomes smart car, or start imagining all of these transactions which you do predominantly on your mobile phones will have some kind of a consent mechanism. Can I do the transactions on behalf of your electricity bill payment of that particular tube light or a fan, right? So that kind of a transaction mechanism will come in our life, right? So many more technologies apart from mobility will come in our life, and that is how we have seen how this technology will really change the way we operate now. And while we enter in the era of 5G, mobility and Internet of Things or variables will require more and more enhanced speed, or rather we need more and more trust between all the stakeholders involved in that whole ecosystem. So let's take example, right? So let's say example of this country, Estonia. Estonia was a country about to get vanished from the global map. Imagine a country is getting vanished from a global map, right? Similarly, in 1992, every country or every citizen was given with 10 euros and being asked, start your life. Today, my dear friends, Estonia has become one of those top 10 innovation country. I just repeat, one of those top 10 innovation country in a flat last 20 years, right? And moreover, Estonia has implemented a blockchain in such a way that it's act as a blueprint for any country. Say example, India or Australia or US or UK, right? If these countries want to implement blockchain for the citizens, right? For ordinary people in the country, they should look at Estonia, how they have really implemented complete ecosystem. More than 290 plus use cases. Start imagining your law, toll payment, right? Your tax payment and every service usually which government offers. This is being implemented on a global identity card, and that identity card is mapped with a banking ecosystem as well as on the blockchain. Complete ecosystem is built on a blockchain. What does it mean? Smart ecosystem, right? No lags, no corruptions, and wow experience for every citizen who is staying in the Estonia. Estonia, as per recent Global Innovation Index, right, which is among top 10 country in the world. That is all the power of a blockchain kind of a technology. If you don't believe me, now look at Dubai, right? Dubai has had this vision statement by 2021. They wanted to become one of the smart Dubai, right? And they say that adopting blockchain or artificial intelligence or any of those emerging technology, it will not vanish the jobs, rather than it will create a lot of jobs. So look at Estonia, Dubai, there are many other small countries who are looking at a blockchain as an ecosystem player for those countries. Their GDPs, economies, lifestyle of people, creation of more jobs, that's the power blockchain kind of a technology is bringing in. Because of pandemic or a COVID kind of a scenario, Dubai may not have reached to that 2021 milestone, but that has given a journey or a path for those Dubai, right? How to become a more smarter Dubai. Today, Dubai is one of those smartest or intelligent ecosystem in the world. And you look at with the blockchain or AI kind of a technology, it gives more power for those countries. So why not India, or why not any other country should look at technology like blockchain to implement at a larger scale, right? Wow, so let's talk about a Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is one of those buzzword, right, which you will find on the Googles or any of the search engine utilized heavily in the last couple of years, right? Since rise of Bitcoin in 2009, with the anonymous Satoshi Nakamoto had come up with a Bitcoin paper. The traction of a Bitcoin paper was for a challenge for that time banking ecosystem. Every citizen in this world should have a better financial inclusion. That was a traction. That's how Bitcoin white paper came in our lives. Today, if you see the first transaction on Bitcoin way back in 2010 January for a pizza buying, today Bitcoin has given a lot of traction in many countries. It can be utilized for many other use cases, right? There are more than 6,000 plus cryptocurrencies in the world, imagine, right? And Bitcoin is one of those top cryptocurrency which if you see, right? Bitcoin has given a traction maybe because of trading kind of aspect. People have invested a lot, they get immediate incentives, but Bitcoin can give a challenge to the current banking industry by removing a lot of operations, removing a lot of systems the way we have implemented current banking ecosystem, because Bitcoin doesn't operate on any of those cloud data center or managed data center. Now start imagining, right, how much we can save for a current banking ecosystem. Bitcoin is one example, the way it was designed way back in 2009. It will require a lot of enhancement for sure, but in a nutshell, it gives a power to the current ecosystem or a challenge to the current ecosystem. This is the way banking should be operated for a welfare of the every citizen in this world, right? Just imagine current findex or a financial index, right, for across the world. 2 billion people don't have bank accounts, or they operate in a such a way that they earn $1 or $2 a day, and they don't have any mechanism to save the money. Bitcoin gives that power. Let's not look at how Bitcoin can be invested with the help of many apps, but look at the other side of a story. Bitcoin gives the challenge to the overall ecosystem the way we have operated in last 20-30 years, right? So now look at one of those use case of a cryptocurrency, right? Facebook. Everybody knows about Facebook, right? One of those 25 to 30% of the world population is on a Facebook. Now in 2018, Facebook has come up with one ecosystem or a chain where they have collaborated with 30 plus ecosystem players like Visa, MasterCard, right? PayU. And imagine if you collaborate on these kind of a players, and if you look at the customer size for all these players could be half of the world, right? Today half of the world is using internet as per October 2001 report. And if you look at if the cryptocurrency which is introduced by Facebook, Libra, was becoming suppose in a traction, right? Everybody started utilizing that kind of a cryptocurrency. What does it mean? It gives a challenge to the current fiat currency, the way we operate in many countries like INR, which is in India, US dollar in US. Likewise, it gives a competition to that whole ecosystem the way we have built. Because of some regulations, some kind of challenges, not much of a transparency, and there is a back forth for every country's regulation, Libra was not successful. What is in a nutshell? Libra has given a challenge to the current ecosystem. Just imagine, right? You are able to send money from one country to another country within a fraction of a second, right? Paying less of fees. Today, we pay a lot of fees in a current payment ecosystem, right? On the SWIFT and many other ecosystems. But just imagine Libra becomes reality, or some kind of another global currency becomes a reality for you tomorrow, right? What does it mean? It gives lot of opportunities. It gives such a great bandwidth to the current banking ecosystem. You can do it with lot of operations. We can do it with lot of regulations the way we have created on centralized ecosystem, right? So let's look at furthermore. Why do we need cryptocurrency? Why do we need better financial ecosystems? If you look at this report, who are all the unbanked, right? So if you really see almost, right, if you see the men 55%, women 47%, and if you look at age-wise, education-wise, income-wise, residence-wise, there is a lot of gap in the current financial ecosystem. It is called as a financial inclusion. How do we bring on better financial inclusions in the ecosystem? So now imagine every countryman of all the world are carrying some Bitcoin kind of ecosystem or global cryptocurrency, right? Everybody will get an opportunity to do banking, right? So that's the traction we can bring in. Today in the world, we have a problem. We have a problem, rather I can say we have an opportunity to bring better financial inclusion for every citizen on this world. So that's the traction, that's the challenge we have to surpass. Another thing, right? When we talk about 17 sustainable goals, what is 17 sustainable goals? In 2015, all those 140 plus countries of a UN came together and formed 17 sustainable goals. What is it all about? It might be all about zero poverty, zero hunger, create better ecosystems, quality education, gender equality. Likewise, there are different 17 goals which talks about better infrastructure, better health, like after pandemic or after COVID scenario. Every countryman or every country is now looking at how we can improvise health, right? So World Economic Forum says out of those 17 sustainable goals, few of those goals can be accomplished with the help of technology like blockchain. Imagine, right? Say example, clean water, right? There is some in Maharashtra government in India, they are looking at how recycled water can be utilized by the companies, hotels, right? They may say that we are utilizing it, but how can we create that audit system? For example, I had done some experiments along with the World Bank, wherein we have created some kind of a minimal viable product. Say example, I go to a company and I ask at 10 o'clock on this particular date, how much water was being utilized as a recycled water. Wherein we have created that product, wherein at every point in time, this product checks how much water is recycled, what is the pH value, right? And it blocks into blockchain. So blockchain is a technology where the data is written cannot be tampered. What does it mean? That company cannot tamper, right, the way they have utilized this kind of recycled water, right? So auditor who are visiting those hotels or visiting those companies can really trust that whole ecosystem by saying at 10 o'clock this particular hotel was utilizing that clean water. Now this is a one example. There are lots, thousands of possibilities how can we use, say example, zero poverty. One example, right, emerging countries get a lot of funds from those bigger countries like UKs and European countries or US. But friends, imagine, like say example, if you are passing on X amount to those countries, it receives X by 10, maybe less than that. Why? Because in the complete value chain and supply chain, we don't know how much amount being corrupted, right? Blockchain gives a traction that from source to destination, it tracks the whole transaction. What does it mean? It means you will have a better ecosystem, better peace and better system for your citizens. Look at Estonia or Dubai tomorrow, right? So likewise, you can really create a better ecosystem for your countrymen. Health, you have seen challenges, right? COVID, some virus came in from some city of some country, right? And it has widespread, taken an impact for whole world, right? And imagine, right, with the blockchain, since the birth of every human being, you can really cater his health and his and as well as you can create a global ecosystem under a blockchain so that you can say health index of a particular country is like this, right? Likewise, you can measure health index of every country under blockchain or these kind of ecosystems. Maybe in predominant sessions, I'll talk in depth about these use cases. In a nutshell, 17 sustainable goals, if you look at, it can be implemented with the help of technology like blockchain, AI, IoT. There are many more other technologies which will come together and say, we will make it happen. That's the traction around 17 sustainable goals. If you look at Clean Bharat, Swachh Bharat, Make in India, these are the outcomes of the 17 sustainable goals. Likewise, every country is looking at how they can participate into this journey. While every country is looking at participation of in this whole agenda, radical change agents are technologies like blockchain, AI and many others. Now, let's take one of the use case, right? El Salvador, right? So that's a country. El Salvador hopes to become first country to use Bitcoin as a legal tender. Time will decide whether it's going to be a successful experiment for the president of the El Salvador. But this country has given a challenge and an outlook to look at how we can adopt a Bitcoin kind of a cryptocurrency, right? So outcome of this president or the whole governance has distributed some kind of a Bitcoin to every citizen. But in a nutshell, this country is acting as a challenge to the current economy or current the way we operate cryptocurrencies, right? There are many countries like Japan or Singapore, New Zealand, Brazil, where Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies are viable as per as the regulation. In India like country, we have a long way to go, right? The way we operate today, our currency, the way we use, right? We need to study a lot. We need to come out with a better structure where we can say crypto is really better use case for every citizen. We need to look at, there are cryptocurrency, there is a Bitcoin, there is a Ethereum, there are lot many kind of cryptocurrencies, but how this currency is going to be helpful for somebody sitting in a shopping mall, somebody sitting in a small shop like a cobbler, or somebody who is a small barber, or somebody is doing some kind of a SME business, right? When a country like India come up with a better regulation, they will have lot of answers. How do we operate on a cryptocurrencies or a digital currencies? So if you look at the way we have seen rise of a money, we could see future of money could be cryptocurrencies. But at the same time, look at the way we have seen bartering system, physical objects, paper money. We might be in era of cards and electronic money. But tomorrow cryptocurrency gives a challenge the way we are working on a digital currencies. Look at, did we use phone pays or Google pays in back in 2000, right? I know those my days where I used to visit bank branch on behalf of my father and used to wait for my turn to take out the cash, right? There are some scenarios in the for companies, they used to call bank branch that we're gonna come for next month's salary, please keep this cash ready. That is a disconnect, right? That's a friction. That friction has slowly reduced because of cards and electronic money. Do we want to live in the same era for next 20 years? So friends, answer is no, right? As a humanity, we always look at how can we change our orbit from one orbit to another orbit. We want to see how our lifestyle, how it can go from one orbit to the next orbit. Every company, say, or every bank, say it's a cooperative bank, small finance bank, challenger bank, or a public sector bank, every bank has its own orbit. They want to see how they can change their orbit with a better technology, better innovation, better processes, how they can go to the next level. So cryptocurrency is a phenomena or kind of a framework and comes and says that we will change your banking. We will change the way you have operated banking since last several years. That's attraction. So friends, if you look at this thing, right, Bitcoin, I will not be surprised if an Indian government comes and says that we have a crypto, so-called Bitcoin. So in today's era in Punjab, right, so there are some of the ecosystems like created by Pangrain. Pangrain is a government agency which is helping farmers of Punjab to sell and buy wheat in a mandi or a marketplace, right? The whole process is a disconnected. Although it is operated on RuPay card, it requires lot of operations next day. It requires lot of settlement kind of exercises where errors could happen, right? And actual payout to the market or mandi happens in the next day. Farmers may not get actual rate, right, during this whole scenario. But tomorrow if we bring Bitcoin, Bitcoin brings lot of transparency. For every transaction completely, the wheat being produced at a farm till wheat being bought by a bigger mandi or bought by a government, the complete transparency will be visible for a farmer, right? Just imagine, will not be surprised, we have a sugarcane coin. The way we have seen example of a wheat coin, similarly in Maharashtra, right, where we produce lot of sugarcane. Can we not create a sugarcane coin? Or if you look at milk coin, right, in Gujarat, right, we produce so much of milk, but the whole supply chain of a milk, starting from production of a milk till it reaches out to those dairies like Amul and Banaskanta and all, it requires lot of manual intervention. Moreover, you cannot really have that kind of a transparency in the current ecosystem. Tomorrow, milk coin comes and says, I operate this crypto on a milk coin which is backed by the value of a milk. That's how those cryptocurrencies which are backed by some asset or value, that's what Indian government also says, right? We are okay for those cryptocurrencies which are backed by some asset or value. Can we not have on a similar note a solar coin, right? Uttar Pradesh government in 1718 tried a lot of use cases with a lot of tech companies to create a better solar trading kind of ecosystem. Imagine a ecosystem or a society or a smart city where we can trade solar, right, in form of a solar coins, right? So renewable energy, right? So likewise, if you remember one of those slides, 17 sustainable goals, where how can you utilize renewable energy, right? So solar is one of those renewable energy, and if as a house, if I have excess of solar energy, can I not trade in form of a solar coin, right? So traction, that is what the traction is given by the cryptocurrency. New kind of a business model, new kind of a operating model will come in our life with the cryptocurrency. Moreover, the way I spoke about wheat coin, milk coin, sugarcane coin or a solar coin, likewise many communities can come up with a lot of coins. Now friends, if these coins are backed by INR or some kind of a central bank digital currency, the experience for every citizen in India will be wow. Rather, I can say that GDP of a country like India will go at least 2 to 3% high if you really operate in this way. So friends, we spoke about a lot of landscape changing things, right? So how crypto can become a better, create a better world, right? How blockchain is slowly getting into countries like Estonia or Dubai, or it may cover most of our world, right? So we need to be ready for that. Now let's take example of a banking industry. Today banking industry has lot of challenges. If I see back office operations or KYC onboarding or front office operations, what does it mean, right? If you visit any of the nearest branch, go and visit any of the nearest branch, if you see how much operations being done by those fellow friends in the banks, right? Account opening, take a paper, write it down, many more things, submit your KYC. Now friend, if you want to open a bank account with a bank A, fine. Now imagine tomorrow you are not happy with the bank A and you want to open a bank account with a bank B. You have to repeat the whole process, right? You have to again fill up that form, submit your documents. Moreover, the branch operation guys, right? They have to again collect your documents. In the back end, there are a lot of things to do the data entry by maker, to do the checker, right? Checker data entry. Or there is another supervisor, right? Who will see the work done by maker checker. Then at the end of the day, there is a process so called, it will take out the data of all those record entries done by today, and that data will go to the core banking ecosystem of that bank. And tomorrow that data will be fed for a card creation or account creation. That's the whole process all about, right? For the same customer who is going to bank A, bank B, maybe tomorrow he wants to become a bank C. As a country, for a single customer, how much operation we gonna do? Can we not consolidate this whole experience, right? The way we have done in UPI, right? You can do a payment from any of those UPI apps like PhonePe, Google Pay, and every bank has their own apps, right? Similarly, we need to do a lot of consolidation in the banking operations, not only for KYC. If I drill down there, I can find 300 plus such processes which need a lot of automation. So automation can be required at front office in the branch, or automation can be required in the back office. So what do we need? We need continuous innovations, and while doing innovation, we need better security and compliance as per regulatory bodies. So in India, RBI, Reserve Bank of India, is a regulatory body for banks, right? Similarly, there are others, IRDA or SEBI for insurance and wealth companies. So what do we need, right? So we need to surpass those challenges, right? So that's a problem statement in front of us. So we have seen some kind of a introduction around, before getting into blockchain, I still not designed or defined a blockchain in front of you. So what is gonna we talk about? We're gonna talk about all these 12 different things. We're gonna talk about evolving landscape, wherein I'll talk about new things, right? Why are we moving towards blockchain kind of a technology? Later on, we'll talk about basics of blockchain. What are those trends wherein blockchain is very important? Cryptocurrencies, we'll talk about the cryptocurrency landscape. We'll get into the actual blockchain technology in a layman's term, right? How do we really design, define? How do we really look at various topologies of blockchain? What are the different use cases can be created in banking or any other industry? We'll talk about various platforms, the way we have Windows or Unix kind of a platform today for internet. Similarly, blockchain has its own platforms, right? We must have heard about Hyperledgers or Ethereums. There are many more. There are 40, 50 plus. Which are the better ones? For which platform we should go while we are creating one of those use cases for your industry? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about those key use cases. I'm not talking about the concept. I'm not talking about some kind of a myth. I'm going to talk about real use cases where blockchain can be implemented. Similarly, we'll get into those central bank digital currency, right? How more than 60 plus central banks of this world, right? You talk about China, you talk about US, UK, Cambodia, Singapore, India. Every country is now embarking on the CBDC kind of CBDC kind of ecosystem. Why we are doing it? How it can really do the better payment ecosystem for the citizens in India or outside of India, right? We'll talk a lot about that. We'll talk about a lot of use cases, not only in banking, but healthcare. We'll talk about media and entertainment. Likewise, we will deep dive into various use cases rather than we can deep dive into how do we identify use cases. How do we create those use cases? We'll talk about how blockchain fits into other emerging technology, how it fits into cloud, how it fits into IoT, how it fits into along with AI, right? Blockchain is not the only technology will come say, I will change your life. No, it has to work cohesively with the other digital transformational entities, right? In a front office, back office, mid office, right? There are many technologies. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about how as a company you can adopt blockchain, right? How do we have those building blocks step by step, how you can get into skill set creation, how can you create a process on blockchain, how can you adopt a technology service provider, how do we deploy it, how do we maintain it. We'll talk about various frameworks and various standards today around blockchain adoption. We'll talk about some of those case studies. We'll talk about how KYC can become better. We'll talk about case studies around digital identity, how India like a country can implement Aadhaar on a blockchain, right? Can we not create that challenge of KYC? Can I create KYC once and reuse everywhere on the bank? Is it possible? Yeah, it is possible. Some banks along with the METI, Ministry of Electronics and Telecommunications, we are creating that pilot. Likewise, we'll talk about lot of case studies which can help to enhance our lifestyle, the way we operate, the way we do banking. Finally, India Blockchain Forum, right? India Blockchain Forum is a consortium of many companies, mentors, influencers with some of those agendas. Creation of a better skill set program, right? The way we are collaboration with cryptowire, creation of better protocols, better than Ethereum's or better than Hyper-Ledger. Is it possible? It is very much possible in 2021. If you talk about those research in 2025, it will be late, right? So that's the traction we are bringing as the India Blockchain Forum. We are looking at collaboration with for a better use cases in banking, insurance, and many more. So this is how we will cover many more things around blockchain. We keep on hearing NFTs, we keep on hearing DeFi's, decentralized finance. We'll keep on hearing many more things in the future, right? Smart blockchain, smart house. Tomorrow in a connected world, the consumer will move on more and more autonomous world, right? Today this is the era of collaboration. Tomorrow we want to create a better autonomous ecosystem. There blockchain comes and says, I will create it for you, right? So that's a consumer behavior. We have seen, right, in pandemic, people sitting at home, glued to the Amazon Primes and many more other those ecosystems. They want to have a more and more autonomous things for them, right? So blockchain comes and says, I will create that inherent trust the way you operate. If you want to order food, I know from where it's gonna come. Moreover, I know the complete chain. Who has touched that particular food in between, or if you are ordering some kind of a grain from a farm, or if you are ordering some kind of a apparels from the Paytm and Flipkart, right? The overall ecosystem, we are slowly getting into the need of a blockchain. Why? It is very much possible with the internet, but internet 2.0 so-called blockchain gives lot of attraction and more trust and provenance the way we operate today. So we'll deep dive and we'll slowly get into one-on-one these things. So now if you look at generations, right, today in 2021, there are 5 different types of generation and every generation has its own need. Now look at traditionalists, right, they would like to go to the nearest branch, they would like to sit with that branch officer, have a tea, and then at the end of a conversation, they will ask for what is my bank balance. Would it be the same behavior for millennials or Gen 20? They will never visit bank branches in the future. So this business model or operating model for branches are changing. I'll be surprised if any bank comes and says that we are going to launch 100+ branches here onwards. Not at all. Rather than we'll see reduction of branches and more adoption on digital. So every generation had its own need and we need to see as a bank or any industry how you are fulfilling the need or a customer experience for every kind of a generation, right? Now look at internet adoption, right? Out of those almost 8 billion population of the world, 67% population is already utilizing internet. 5.25 billion fellow citizens of this world are already utilizing internet. Last year, this was 4.x billion. And see the adoption over a period of last 1 year. So will not be surprised this figure will go 80% plus in the next 3 to 4 years, right? What does it mean? It means that every business model for every industry, they need to bring it on the internet or on the smartphones, right? So that's how we need to look at how we can really you utilize the way customers are operating on the internet. Now let's figure it out. What is meant by digital transformation? Now if you look at not digital till extreme digital, so it's a journey of every organization, right? So what is meant by extreme digital? So maybe like Amazon Go. I enter in a shopping mall, I pick up all the ingredients the way I want to do shopping, and I come out of the Amazon shopping mall, and they ask me a password or a OTP or a consent. Are you the same person who has done the shopping? I just say yes, or I just wave off my biometric fingers, or I just showcase my facial expressions, and the payment happens. That's the extreme digital. We might be in the era of basic digital or advanced digital. What does it mean? It means we might be utilizing mobile phones or some kind of a big data, or we might be utilizing internet banking. Some of the banks in India has used some video tailors. So we might be basic or advanced digital, right? There is an opportunity. How do we convert every paper-based operations slowly onto the adaptive digital and towards extreme digital? Another example, Prasanna enters in a bank branch, and branch manager comes out and says, "Hello, Mr. Prasanna, how are you?" Such a wow experience for me, right? He doesn't know my name, but how come he came to know my name? Moreover, based upon my facial expression, he will come to know whether I am happy or unhappy. Is it possible? Yeah, those computer vision based cameras are making it possible. There are a lot of algorithm research being happening which tells you whether the person is happy or unhappy. Immediately branch manager says, "Sir, how can I help you?" That gives more comfort to me. That's the extreme digital. Now say more example, right? We have seen a lot of games, right? And in every game we see this some kind of a yellow line or a green line or a red line. And imagine in tomorrow's augmented reality era or virtual reality era, branch manager or somebody is sitting at a main office, corporate office can see, click on a particular branch and can see how many customers are red. How many customers are red means how many customers need financial support. How many customers are amber, they are looking at some kind of help, or how many customers are green, sitting on huge wealth where they have an opportunity to do a lot of investment. So that kind of a traction brings extreme digital. So innovations are happening in other industry. How do we bring on those cross-industry innovation in a banking where it is not happening? That's called as a extreme digital. So there are a lot of possibilities. So technology like blockchain comes and says, we can bring that kind of extreme digital for you. So that's the opportunity. Now if you look at complete branch operations, slowly moving on to the mobile phones or internet banking, that's the extreme digital. Or you talk about communications. Communication plays major role for adoption of technologies. We have seen a era of keyboard and a mouse, right? I have seen keyboard and mouse the way I used to operate on PCs. Today's generation are on a swipe, talk or a touch, right? We have seen those QWERTY keypads on Nokia phones or Blackberries. Almost all the phones today are on a swipe or a talk, right? Imagine the generation which is coming up, which never seen a keyboard and a mouse, they will try to click on the paper and say, why this paper is not working? That's kind of a communication plays major role in lot of innovations the way we are going to see. Gesture, mood, gaze. Google's, Facebook's, recently Facebook has announced rebranding as a Meta, right? Similarly, we could see a lot of such innovations by Apple, Google or many of those companies. And we'll certainly see tomorrow's banking or tomorrow's operations, tomorrow's communication will be gesture, mood based. What does it mean? I look at some of my viewers of this whole episode, I could see who is really listening with a better enthusiasm, who is being bored, right? So this kind of a communication, provided that person has given a consent to read his brain. That's a brain-to-brain interface. So imagine in 1960 or in 2000, the way we have seen our communications. Can you not imagine different kind of a communication in 2040? And that's all happens because the way we operate, the way we adopt many new technologies. So are we good enough even after internet adoption and modernization with a question mark, right? So we may not be. There is a lot of room to go to the next level. So let's talk about what is blockchain basics and the various trends around blockchain all around, right? So what is the challenge, right? So today, challenge in front of us, the way I spoke some time back, 1 billion people are estimated to lack legally recognized form of ID. right? In India is placed with the Aadhaar identity ecosystem, right? There are countries who don't have digital identity. So how can they have those many subsidies, so many government facilities are available, how they can avail for, right? Likewise, there is lot of room of those 7.6 billion people on the earth, 3.4 billion people have some form of ID, but no digital trails. Similarly, 3.2 billion people have some form of ID and a digital trail. So there is an opportunity for almost half of the world to get onto the digital footprints or digital biometric footprints, right? So that's a opportunity. Another opportunity, look at social media adoption, right? There are 10 plus social medias, Facebooks, or you talk about Twitter, you talk about LinkedIn, WhatsApp, YouTube, and so on. But in every social media, we don't have this kind of a button on and off. Once you are on social media, once you are there, your data is already with those companies. You can't say, let me switch off and my data will be vanished from those social media companies. It is not at all possible. That's the challenge today we have. And we have seen how this data being utilized for some of those frauds, right? So it's called as a social engineering. So that's the challenge in front of us. Another challenge in front of us is like digital identity, right? Documents. I have seen some of the documents or some of the fraudsters have producing 300 plus Aadhaar identity documents for the same person. It's possible in the physical world, it's at all possible, right? Similarly, passport frauds or PAN card frauds, and likewise, people create forgery documents, open their account, go for a loan, and that's how we land up with the many more such frauds, right, which we have seen in the past. So another challenge in front of this is like we have seen this private property, right? So this kind of a billboards in front of properties. Is it really required? If you go to this modern countries, have you ever seen these kind of a boards, right? So we need a lot of trust between us, right? How do we create that trust? If you do any of the deal, land deal, or you talk about a real estate deal, it takes minimum 10 to 15, 20 days, right? With lots of paper, lots of signatures, right? Because this is the way we have created our current ecosystem. Can blockchain change? Blockchain will change the world. I think Telangana government has done some kind of experiments around land registration, right? Can you imagine Uttar Pradesh government, every land or every area is digitized. It's only opportunity for them to bring into the blockchain. Switzerland and there are many more countries has already implemented some kind of a POCs pilots on for these kind of use cases. There you don't have to put these kind of boards in future if it is implemented on blockchain. From farm to fork to the market, right? Whatever we produce in the farm, how can we really make sure that apples or grapes are really coming from this farm? How many days it took for a complete supply chain, right? These are all questions in front of us, right? So there are other challenges. Insurance, right? If by mistake some your car get damaged or some accident happened, it takes minimum 3 to 7 or maybe sometimes 15 days for an overall claim, right? Because that's how we have created current insurance ecosystem, right? It takes a lot of time to really do the claim. Peer-to-peer payment in 2017, we have seen a lot of companies arrived as a peer-to-peer payment. Without any regulation, they have started providing loans in a community without any regulation. So what RBI has done, RBI converted all of those peer-to-peer companies as a NBFCs. That's how they regulated that. Likewise, if you see which are the other challenges, right? Say example, can my credit card number get stolen? If you are utilizing credit card or debit card on any of the website, there are a lot of possibilities getting stolen, right? Or am I being tracked on the internet? 100% yes. Or do they see my profile activity on social media or password? Oh yes. So these are all the current challenges on the internet-based ecosystem, right? So there are a lot of challenges. Similarly, recently Elon Musk Twitter account was being hacked. Apart from Elon Musk, there are other dignitaries Twitter account was being hacked. And what they said, I am doubling all BTC payment sent to my address, and people have done it. Imagine if the whole ecosystem was on the blockchain, would have really avoided these kind of frauds, right? Similarly, today it might be 7-8 entities are on the sharing economy. What does it mean? It means like Ola or Uber, or you talk about co-working spaces. Likewise, study says that in the next 4-5 years, you will have a 350 plus entities on sharing economy, right, will ask for the service. Everything will be a service. Clothes as a service, home as a service, co-working as a service, car as a service. There will be lot of entities will come on the marketplace. And when we will be on such marketplace, we will need lot of trust from where this service coming. How do I bring that trust? Internet will give that service, but how do I really bring the source and the destination of the whole transaction? That's the challenge today we have, right? So you talk about SMS frauds, right? You might be receiving so many SMS on a daily basis. Click on this link, you will get some award, right? Click on this link, you will complete your KYC, and all of a sudden your data will be vanished. You will find some message coming to you, so much of amount being deducted from your account, right? So these kind of frauds are based upon the internet, based upon the current ecosystem. Or you talk about OTPs. Although there will be so many campaigns, so many advisories for you, do not share OTPs, but there are a lot of victims, right, who are educated also, may not be educated, so that's how they share their OTP just like that, right? There are a lot of fraudsters sitting, are operating in a very regulated, not unregulated way to do this kind of frauds, right? So these are the current challenges which we are riding. So there are different challenges around identity. For banks, they want to know how are their customers, and for customers, they want to know are they really doing banking with the right entities. So there are a lot of challenges in current things, and that is why it is very much important how do we really solve those challenges, right? There are challenges, blockchain comes, fine, there are challenges, but I will come and surface all of those challenges, right? So we'll talk about what is blockchain all about. Now, so blockchain makes sense if it is correspond to that at least half of the following points. So these are the points. What are those points? It improves productivity. Is allow you to radically simplify the collaboration. What does it mean by? Like-minded entities coming together, banks coming together for a use case of a KYC, right? All banks coming together, or insurance company, car manufacturing coming together and doing that collaboration. Reduces the chain of intermediaries, right? There are no intermediaries in Bitcoin. There are no intermediaries any of those cryptocurrency. There are a lot of intermediaries in current banking ecosystem. Blockchain comes and says, I will reduce the chain of intermediaries. You can send money from one country to another country without intermediaries. Imagine how many such operations we can do without intermediaries or without human being in between. That's the power of blockchain. Increases the trust of participants and the security of the system. Blockchain systems are more secure than current internet-based system. Moreover, it increases the trust of the participants. We know how the data is being stored. It's all fully secure. Bitcoin cannot be hacked the way it is being designed, defined, or any of the blockchain-based ecosystems cannot be hacked. What could be hacked? The overall surrounding ecosystem. If you are opening up your keys which are able to share the Bitcoin, you will be hacked. But predominantly the backend system blockchain cannot be hacked. That's how it is being designed, defined. With today's computing power, it cannot be hacked. It provides a resource savings, right? So you can save lot of INR, lot of operational efforts with the blockchain. So in a nutshell, blockchain is a technology which enhances your current ecosystem with no intermediaries, with more security and less of operations, rather zero operations. That's how is the definition of a blockchain. So let's talk about blockchain types, right? If you look at this slide, blockchain 1.0, blockchain 2.0, or let's categorize a blockchain 3.0. That's how we can categorize broadly blockchains. So all the cryptocurrencies including Bitcoin since 2009 can be categorized under blockchain 1.0. And all those enterprise use cases which governments, bank, healthcare companies, insurance companies, manufacturing companies will create on top of this current internet will treat them as a blockchain 2.0. We have seen rise of Ethereum kind of a ecosystem in 2013, or there are few more different types like decentralized apps. So all those use cases will treat it as a blockchain 2.0. Blockchain 3.0 is a future. something which is autonomous world, right? Wearables with 5G, right? Which will happen instantaneously with your consent mechanisms. So those will be combination with blockchain. Other emerging technologies will treat as a blockchain 3.0. So today we might be in era of blockchain 2.0, blockchain 1.0, and some kind of a research is happening. How do we have an interoperable blockchain? So that's how we can treat different types of a blockchain this way, like blockchain 1.0, blockchain 2.0, and blockchain 3.0. So we spoke about different types of blockchain. Now let's see what is in a blockchain in a real-time world. I'll take example of a insurance chain, or how we process a insurance for your car, right? And how traditionally we are doing, and how on a blockchain world we're gonna do. And then we'll understand what is in my blockchain. Now let's say example, there is a customer who has opened his bank account in January 2020. The car being manufactured by a company, say example Maruti car, they have manufactured a car in January 2020, and that car is available for a sale in February. So we'll see all those events for a complete buying car. Maybe car was stolen in May 2020, and customer has to do a FIR with the police station. Then there are a lot of other activities where we will see lot many entities are involved. If you see bank account, bank, digital identity of that customer, car manufacturer, then insurance company, and if you see the overall ecosystem out here, right? All these are records. Say example, the bank account being opened, this is one record. Likewise, there are 15 records, and all these records are available in a discrete manner. They are available in their ecosystem. Say example, RTO relevant record will be available at RTO. Police or FIR relevant record will be available in the FIR ecosystem of a police station. Similarly, bank account being opened, it is available in the banking ecosystem. Car is being bought, that is available in the car's ledger system. So if you look at this and say example, some of the data is being vanished or corrupted, right? You don't have any, customer cannot really prove this kind of a thing under this traditional ecosystem. Moreover, the manual efforts, the time required to process a claim, right? So claim received and mapped to the identity, it takes lot of time. In typical world, say example, car being stolen in May, it's taking 2 to 3 months, right? In that whole exercise. Moreover, customer has to do lot of follow-ups, right? And there is no clear-cut source to destination what has really happened. Now, if I convert this whole process on a blockchain kind of ecosystem, something like this, right? Say example, the whole ledger system and all the actors of the ledger, say example, a bank or owner or a company showroom, insurance company, police station, right? All of them are on the same chain. And moreover, I am gonna write every record since bank account being opened until last record, right, on a same chain. So that every entity is able to see what is really happening on the chain. Moreover, whenever I am writing another record, say example, car being manufactured, that data is having the data of earlier entry. What does it mean? You cannot change all these entries, right, in this whole ecosystem. So what is blockchain in a nutshell? Blockchain is a set of like-minded participants. Say example, we have participants like bank or a police station and so on, and all the records, all the ledger system is replicated everywhere. So records which are available at a bank or a manufacturer or at police station or at RT office, all these records are replicated. That's it. Moreover, these records are secure with some key, and you cannot tamper the data. If you have to tamper these data, you have to tamper all the data in between. So that's all about Bitcoin, the way it works since beginning of 2009, or any of those ecosystem which we'll build. So in this ecosystem where we have seen, right, so this is a disconnected experience for a customer. Data is lying silos in the multiple centralized systems. But if you look at this one, wherein the data is on the same chain, that's the beauty of a blockchain. So what internet has not given, similarly blockchain comes and say, I will bring on this kind of a provisions, right? So source to destination, we know the each and every record, and each and every record cannot be tampered. It is stored with the private key of every entity, right? And moreover, the record in between always have a hash of all the old records. So that kind of a ecosystem in a layman terms blockchain looks at. Now let's take one more example, right? So you guys have done a lot of shopping and you have used your cards or something on e-commerce or Paytms and so on. Say example, customers doing some kind of a transaction on a e-commerce website or on tablet or on a POS, right, point of sale. So typically in a banking ecosystem, transaction gets routed to a bank's server. Say example, transaction is getting routed from this e-commerce website to the bank server, and moreover in the banking ecosystem the trust is created with the help of associations, MasterCard, Visa or RuPay. These are associations of all the banks, right? So NPCI in this example, right? When customer is going to do this transaction on this e-commerce website, this e-commerce website is acquired by one bank, and the actual amount will be deducted for this customer's account, for this core banking of this system. So if you look at this whole system, right, so current system, in this whole system actual money will be given for this merchant on the next day, which is called as a T+1 kind of a system. Moreover, this money is given to this merchant after a reconciliation and settlement process. So this whole ecosystem which we have built in the banking ecosystem requires reconciliation settlement, and it consists of many more shared computer servers. Like all these systems are built on this presentation tier, app server, web server, database server. So you could see issuance bank, acquiring bank, trust agencies like NPCI, everybody will have their own servers with all these app server, web servers, database servers and so on. So what does it mean? Multiple source of data. Moreover, in this whole system, lot of overheads, dispute management. Say example, if you are doing transaction on a POS and the transaction doesn't go through, what you will do? You will call to the contact center, you will ask, my money has got deducted, what should I do? So that kind of a manual intervention is required. Moreover, reconciliation settlement require additional cost, operational cost, where you have to have a operational team comprised of people, right? And for example, if somebody is doing more mistakes into the reconciliation settlement, then it's all gone, right? So there are a lot of overheads in the current process, manual interventions, reversals, and this whole ecosystem which we build. Say example, UPI, IMPS, NEFT, RTGS, which we do. For person, it is an immediate transaction. But in the back end, it is comprised of hell lot of servers, hell lot of operations, so on. So that's how we have built a current banking ecosystem. Now let's say example, I will convert this whole ecosystem as a crypto bank. What does it mean? We have a same set of customer and acquiring ecosystem wherein I am converting this bank A, bank B, associations, regulator with a different nodes, right? Is it possible? Technically it is possible. That's how cryptocurrency works, that's how Bitcoin works, that's how Ethereum works, right? Similarly, what I am understanding from this ecosystem, I will have many more advantages, right? What are those? With this system, what is that I will have it is like no dispute management, no reconciliation required, it is a real-time settlement, no manual interventions. So now if I look at again this whole ecosystem where it is comprised of so many servers, so much of cost, so much of operations, so technically I can really create this kind of a crypto bank, right? Is it possible? Technically it is possible, but how do we do that, right? It will take a lot of time to really get into this crypto bank kind of a architecture. But in a nutshell, this is how is a blockchain. That's the power of a blockchain. You don't have to invest so much of operation, you don't have to invest so many servers, database servers. Moreover, you will do with lot of manual interventions, lot of bad data, corruption of data, frauds, right? So it's completely foolproof crypto bank kind of architecture we can really implement. So in a nutshell, if I had to define blockchain, what it is all about? A shared computer network, accessible, permissible to anyone the way we design, and store all those events starting from the transaction has started and transaction ended at issuance bank. Executes workflow involves multiple parties without use of a separate system and database. We don't need any separate database out there, right? Digital information to be distributed but not copied. That whole data is available to all the participating nodes, all the participating banks out there. No reconciliation, settlement, no settlement required, and no or less manual intervention. The ecosystem which we see in banking or any of the other industry, you will see lot of manual intervention, lot of operations, lot of back forth, right? And blockchain comes and says that I will build a smart ecosystem the way this is being designed or defined, right? Yeah. Now if you look at the whole how it works seamlessly, say example you are processing a transaction blockchain. Now remember that example of a insurance chain, right? The data which is being initiated by at one end get replicated to all the nodes, all the participating banks for example, and it will be approved out there. The way Bitcoin works on some kind of a consensus mechanism. Once it is approved, then that data will be written onto the blocks, right? Now you can see the date on the fifth new block being added. What does it mean? All the old blocks, say example I am at a block number 5, right? So block number 5 will have all the information of block number 4 in a hash format in the block 5. What does it mean? N number of block, nth block will have a n minus 1 blocks information in a hash format. What does it mean? It means that block nth has the data of all the previous blocks. That makes untamperable kind of a ecosystem for a blockchain. That's how the blockchain works, right? So it is not straightforward like the traditional ecosystem. Similarly, if you take an example of Bitcoin, right, how it works? Say example Alice and Bob are the two participating entities and they have their own wallets, wherein Alice is sending one BTC, one Bitcoin currency with Bob's address, right, and a message, right? So this message will be signed by the private key of Alice, and Bob's address and whatever he has sent, it will be hashed with an algorithm called as the SHA-256. Now once this agreement is there done in the whole ecosystem, this data will be replicated to all the entities and only Bob will be able to see his data or a value. Why? Because the data being sent or a BTC or a blockchain, sorry, or a Bitcoin being sent by Alice is Bob's address. So Bob will be able to see his value of a Bitcoin with the help of his own private key. So this is in nutshell on the layman's language how Bitcoin work. Now if I go back crypto bank, right, how it can be done. So when I will build a crypto bank in a banking ecosystem, so I think with a better regulation, it will be an instant settlement, no branches are required, digital, these are all the advantages, low cost fees. If you drill down more, right, so if you look at the overall ecosystem the way we have done, I'll go through a lot of use cases in this session where we will see you will have a reduced settlement time, trusted third party elimination, it eliminates a lot of error handling due to man in between, it supports smart transactions without much of manual interventions, cost will be reduced, inherently your cost will be reduced on the infra side, on the operation side, and finally it is a secure transaction database. So I will not be surprised tomorrow's banking will be based upon a crypto banking, will have lot of advantages and lower costs, increased transparency, greater security and a faster settlement, right? So it does require 4 different aspects: your blockchain or a distributed ledger technologies, smart contracts, network-based consensus and a security. These are all the 4 aspects are required to build a crypto bank. So we'll get into what are the different topologies, right? So what type of topologies we have. If you remember blockchain 1.0, blockchain 2.0 and blockchain 3.0, typically all blockchain 1.0 which is around cryptocurrency is a part of this, permissionless and public, wherein you me can download Bitcoin and start working on it, right? But typically when we look at some of those applications between banks or insurance company, bank, RTO, police, so those will be like a permissioned or a private, right? So that's how we'll design and develop a blockchain. So if you say tomorrow, if as a company I am building a blockchain use case, will it be public? It may not be public because you don't want to have a direct access to the customer. You want to have your own chain. Say example, all the banks coming together for a distributed kind of a KYC use case, they will come up with the architecture which will be private and a permission, something like this. So wherein only all banks can access, nobody can access unless and until you give the permissions. If you drill down this whole topologies in between, so it will be something like this. This is your traditional architecture where your central infrastructure between banks with these trusted agency like a MasterCard or Visa in between. So blockchain network will be like this. So if you look at, if you drill down this whole ecosystem of a blockchain, so traditional ecosystem is like this, wherein you have multiple banks with a centralized architecture are getting formulated with the help of a blockchain network, and it has its own advantages. So finally, if you look at a blockchain, there are 4 different of aspects which blockchain offers. It offers decentralization of your banking. It offers tamper-proof, right, secure banking, transparent and secure, and with the help of a smart contracts, right. So there will not be much of a manual intervention is required, because your manual operations are being coded on a smart contract. So these are the 4 different aspects of the blockchain to look at. So let me summarize again. This is your current system, which is a centralized system, and these centralized systems this is a public system, where it's like a public system where anybody can download the node and be part of that whole ecosystem. Or like this, which is a public ecosystem, right, where all these ledger systems are replicated, are available to any user. They can download it on their mobile phone, PCs, and be part of this whole ecosystem. Typically blockchain 1.0, right, or a cryptocurrency kind of a ecosystem will be public topologies. If I look at private, which is between bank A, bank B, regulator, trusted agency, will be a private, right. So they will not open up their network to outsiders. These use cases, there could be cross-border payment, could be AML KYC, could be lending between all the banks, or a distributed KYC. Likewise, we can come up with many more use cases among all banks together. So these banks will come together and will decide upon a private kind of a blockchain, right. Or we can depict as this way, like bank A, bank B, bank C, bank D, and they are examples decentralized KYC, wherein a KYC done at a bank A will be available for the same customer at a bank B also with a minimum fee. So likewise, we can come up together, companies can come up together, and for a use case they can create a right architecture. So typically for enterprise based blockchain use cases, it is always a private kind of architecture. Now we are speaking about public or private or hybrid kind of topologies. Let's see how we can create a use case wherein it will be helpful for banks together. Say example, a use case about a private blockchain for KYC. Here we can see a customer can visit to a bank A and sharing his KYC data. After 2019 end, where RBI has recommended all the banks to use a video KYC, also one of those options for collecting the KYC, where video of a customer will act as a KYC document, where he will feature his PAN card, Aadhaar card, and relevant data. Now considering that whole ecosystem, where we gonna use the video KYC and Aadhaar data or data in the DigiLocker, and earlier we have a CKYC kind of a ecosystem, we gonna use these data for this customer. So say example, customer comes to a bank A, which is a part of a private blockchain use case for a decentralized KYC. He completes his KYC, data is available for this bank in one node. And as it's a private blockchain, data gonna get replicate immediately because of a smart contract to all the other nodes. What does it mean? It means that for this customer or for this bank, we don't have to do a lot of operations for that whole KYC. Customer visit to another bank, he can just produce a KYC number which can be utilized by this bank to open another account. What are we saving here? We are saving a lot of operations to do KYC. Remember my friends, if you are doing normal account opening at a bank, it takes 5 to 6,000 INR. I never know that customer gonna be a primary customer account or not, right? So to save a lot of these INRs for all the banks, we, as I said earlier, we had a consolidated payment ecosystem like UPI. Can we not create a decentralized KYC ecosystem wherein all of these banks coming together or riding on these blockchain incentives, riding on these existing ecosystems or Aadhaar or DigiLocker or CKYC or video KYC? Just imagine, not only RBI, but other regulated entities like IRDA or SEBI can utilize the KYC of the same customer for multiple products, for savings account, current account, lending, mutual funds, or wealth relevant products. So that's the attention towards how multiple use cases we can build. It's not only CKYC or KYC, but there are many more use cases which we can build. So blockchain gives that kind of attraction and says the way you operated bank is so far is good, but we can make it very good due to these kind of facilities like tamper-proof, decentralized data, secure data, and less of operations. So do we talk about internet today? We don't talk about internet today, right? What we talk about various use cases riding on internet, like Paytm, Flipkart, and so many other use cases, right? Similarly, when you look at the journey of a blockchain, starting from say example 2021 till 2030, we'll do a lot of research, we'll do a lot of education, many more companies will adopt blockchain. So maybe 2030 we'll talk about something else. What more? We'll talk about actual use cases, like we spoke about decentralized KYC, cross-border payment. Every country is adopting central bank digital currency. Likewise, we will see many more smart use cases on blockchain. That's how we will see traction of a blockchain the way we have seen last 20-25 years. Internet has given lot many things, but that inherent trust which will require within that internet will be carried forward by the blockchain kind of a technology. So friends, we spoke a lot about evolving landscape. We spoke about basic fundamentals of the blockchain, why blockchain is required in our life, what internet has given to us is good, but how blockchain is gonna make that journey more better, more faster and more secure. This is what we spoke about. We spoke about the fundamental banking architecture, how that banking architecture can become a crypto bank tomorrow, and moreover we spoke out some of those use cases. So here onwards we'll talk about various blockchain topologies and blockchain softwares, blockchain technologies which will make many more use cases, not only in banking but many other industries like telecoms or media and entertainment, healthcare. So my dear friends, the way we have seen internet has penetrated in every application for us. Databases or relation databases has penetrated in every application for us. You want it or you don't want it, blockchain is gonna be part of every integral ecosystem for us. So that's the future all about. So in the next session we'll talk more about blockchain platforms and so on. So friends, thank you so much for being part of this session to understand overall blockchain, fundamentals of blockchain, why blockchain is required, various use cases in banking ecosystem. So furthermore, stay tuned to understand various platforms in blockchain, key use cases done by this world and various startups and industries adopted for a blockchain. We'll talk a lot about CBDC and likewise DeFi, NFTs. We'll talk about real use cases, how blockchain is really utilized by many citizens like Estonia or Dubai. We'll talk about how blockchain sits along with the AI or wearable kind of emerging technologies. Furthermore, if you want to adopt blockchain at your company, individually, as a unit, at your department, we'll talk about how do you adopt with the blockchain adoption framework. We'll take some of the case studies, like how blockchain journey was there for some startups. We'll take some of the case studies, how students are learning blockchain together, right? And finally, we'll talk about India Blockchain Forum, how India Blockchain Forum, along with the CryptoWire, making this ecosystem of a blockchain more vibrant, right? Our agenda to reach out every individual, every student, every academia, every corporate to learn immediately on blockchain, so that as a country we see more and more better adoption for a blockchain kind of a ecosystem. Thank you so much.